Let's be perfectly honest. Absolutely nobody saw this coming. After the Bruins swept a 3-game road trip in California, they're now 32-4-4 as we approach the halfway point of the season. 4 regulation losses in 40 games. Absolutely insane. We're going to talk about the weekend's action and give some props where they're due to our boy, David Pastrnak, here on today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked Beat. Today is Monday, January 9th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day. Every day, we are free and available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. So please do subscribe on your favorite podcast app and to the video form of the show, where you can also get some breaking news and bonus content. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, you can find the podcast at Locked NHL Bruins, and you can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey tweets at Ian C. McLaren. All right, so the Bruins completed a 3-game road trip through the state of California, beginning last Thursday, culminating last night, and they won all 3 games in regulation by a combined score of 16-5. The star of the show over the weekend was David Pastrnak. In those 3 games, he fired 20 shots on goal and scored 7 goals, adding 1 assist for 8 points total in those 3 games, a point per game average of 2.67. 5 of those goals were scored at even strength. His assist came at even strength as well. Only 2 of those goals and points were scored on the power play, which is especially impressive. David Pastrnak now sits 1 goal back of Connor McDavid for the league lead. He's got 32 goals. McDavid at 33. Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres with 31. And he's now 3rd in total points behind McDavid again, who's got 76. And Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers, who has 62 points. Going to be next to impossible to catch McDavid. Draisaitl, a bit of a possibility, and the Rocket Richard Trophy, his second, would be well within reach as well. Of course, Pastrnak shared that trophy with Alex Ovechkin a few years ago. We all know, of course, that Pastrnak is an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season, and he is upping his value with every passing game. We all know how valuable he is, for sure. We all know that he deserves to be paid a boatload of money, and he's positioning himself to be among the NHL's top paid players beginning next season. In 2023-24, Nathan MacKinnon will have the league's highest cap hit at $12.6 million. Connor McDavid will be next at $12.5. And then you have a few guys within the $11 million range. Artemi Panarin, Austin Matthews, Erik Karlsson, John Tavares, and Drew Doughty. Some of those are kind of legacy contracts, specifically Tavares, Karlsson, Doughty. You wouldn't be paying those guys 11. Well, maybe Erik Karlsson. He's actually living up to that this year. He's got 41 games played, 54 points. Tavares, 40 points in 41 games. It's not an $11 million season. Then you have in the $10 million range, Mitch Marner, Huberdeau, Jonathan Huberdeau, Carey Price, Anze Kopitar, Alexander Barkov, Jack Eichel, Sergei Bobrovsky. If you don't think Pastrnak belongs in that group somewhere, you're nuts. My belief for a while now is that he's going to get at least $11 million, and that's certainly well-deserved. Again, Jonathan Huberdeau, he signed a contract extension that will pay him $10.5 million beginning next season. He's got 27 points in 38 games right now. David Pastrnak is well deserving of a big time deal from the Boston Bruins. Side note, the Sabres locked in Tage Thompson at $7.142,857 million through next season until 2029, 2030. That looks like an absolute steal at the moment. So the big takeaway from the weekend, therefore, is that David Pastrnak deserves to get paid, and I don't know what the holdup is. The Bruins need to get him signed sooner than later. I do believe it's going to happen, but the longer it goes, then the more unsettling it is, to be honest. The Bruins, well, let's wrap up with Pastrnak before we get to how the Bruins are doing overall. And that brings me to my money quote from Sunday's game, where Pastrnak, after scoring a hat trick against the Anaheim Ducks, he scored 2 against the Kings, 2 against the Sharks. The hat trick, he said, it never gets old. You're scoring goals in the best league in the world. It's not easy. I will never take it for granted. It's my job to score goals, and it still makes you happy. Pastrnak moved past Johnny Bucyk for sole possession of third place on the Bruins all-time list in terms of hat tricks. Now just one back of Cam Neely for second place on that list. Phil Esposito way ahead. I don't know if he'll ever catch him, but still, Pastrnak just playing as well as he ever has. He's on pace to smash previous career highs in both goals and points. Pastrnak previously had scored 48 goals in 70 games back in 2019-20 to earn the share of the Rocket Richard Trophy. Right now, he's on pace for 66 goals and 53 assists for a total of 119 points. Previous career high was 95 set back in 2019-20. Just an all-world performance so far this season by Krejci, who also assisted on a first-period goal from David Krejci, and that checkmates line that was reunited. Craig Smith got the first-line bump last night. They played one of their better games of the season. He passed the 30-goal mark, came in the 40th game, set a new personal best after doing it in 42 games back in 2019-20. Now 7th different Bruin to score 30 or more goals in 40 games or fewer, joining Phil Esposito, Cam Neely, who we all know did the 50 and 50 back in 93-94, Dit Clapper, Herb Kane, Bill Cowley, and Cooney Weiland. If you know any of those names, then you are a deep-cut Bruins fan. All right, we'll talk more about this road trip for the Bruins, where they stand at the 40-game mark here in a moment. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. They have a product that more and more people are using every single day. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you can absorb 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients that supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. Basically, all the things. And it costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements you need yourself. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop and a cup of water every day, that's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. Athletic Greens is giving a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thank you once again for making Locked On Bruins your first listen every day. Next, check out the Locked On NHL Prospect Show. It's a daily podcast covering the next generation of hockey superstars, post-World Juniors, and leading up to the NHL Draft. Locked On Prospects is available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. So the Bruins again sweeping this 3-game road trip through California. They extended their point streak to 14 games. They're now 11-0-3 in that span, improving their overall record to just an unbelievable 32-4-4 on the season. 68 points, second most through 40 games in NHL history. And their 32 wins equaled the second most through 40 games in league history. The 68 points is second only to Boston, who did that in 1920-30. And the 32 wins equal the second most through 40 games with the 1944-45 Montreal Canadiens. The 29-30 Bruins had 35 wins over that span. So this is historic stuff that we're talking about here, folks. They're playing better than the two best teams of the shootout era, which would have been the 2013 Chicago Blackhawks and the 2018-2019 Tampa Bay Lightning. As Jackie Redmond of NHL Network pointed out, that Lightning team was 33-8-2 through 43 games on January 9th. The Bruins have played 3 fewer games and have fewer losses and a better point percentage than those Lightning. Right now, the Bruins have an .850 point percentage, which is just insane. And not only that, they're not just squeaking by here, eking out wins. They're pretty dominant. The Bruins have a goal differential of plus 68. The next highest team is the Dallas Stars at plus 34. That's double. The Bruins have allowed only 88 goals. The Winnipeg Jets are the next fewest at 103. And the Bruins are now the highest scoring overall team, although the Buffalo Sabres have played 3 fewer games, so they might have the edge when it comes to goals per game. But the Bruins, far and away the best goal differential. They're 3.85 in terms of goals per game. Sabres averaging 4, but the Bruins allowing only 2.13 goals per game. Next closest is Winnipeg at 2.58. This is through 40 games, folks. This is a decent sample size. It's not just a great start anymore. The halfway point of the season will hit us later this week. And the Bruins have picked up points in 36 of 40 games. I'm a glass half full kind of guy when it comes to the Bruins. I thought they would be pretty good to start the season. All talk of them taking a step back, maybe not even making the playoffs. Yes, there were injury concerns off the top, but it's clear that most, if not all people, were underestimating this team. And they're not just good. This team is historic good at the moment. And it's exciting to watch. I don't want to be one of those fans that's saying none of this matters unless they win the Stanley Cup. Right now, it's hard to picture anybody taking 4 of 7 games from the Boston Bruins. But I just want to enjoy the ride, to watch Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, who's coming on pretty strong as of late. Marchand with 6 points in 3 games on this trip. McAvoy, Charlie Coyle chipped in with 4 points in 3 games. Trent Frederick had 3 points. Krejci, Bergeron. So many people chipping in here on this road trip, and they'll get a few days off before taking on their next opponent, which will be Seattle, I believe, on Thursday. Just an incredible run so far for this team, and I'm so excited to watch them on a nightly basis. Should add that on Pasternak's second goal, Patrice Bergeron scored his 600th assist, becoming the 4th player in Bruins history to reach that mark. He's also now 3rd all-time in Bruins scoring. Jeremy Swayman made 28 saves for his 4th win in 6 games. He's played very good as of late, including 2 wins on the West Coast road trip. So that's really great to see. And we're going to talk about Hampus Lindholm coming back to Anaheim and a couple more notes from this road trip here in a moment. But first, today's other sponsor is BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every pro and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season, basketball, NHL. They've got it all at betonline.net. They're the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. And you can head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more at BetOnline, where the game starts. Just texting my mother because they were calling to wish our youngest a happy birthday. It is Henry's 8th birthday today. We allowed him to stay home from school. He's currently watching Jurassic Park and will enjoy a day out with his mother later on today. So let's wrap up some stuff from this road trip. Hampus Lindholm, of course, made his return to Anaheim for the first time since being acquired by the Bruins last March for Urho Vakanainen, John Moore, a first-round pick, and 2 other second-round picks. He said it was weird walking in. He got lost walking around the locker room, didn't really know where to go, didn't really know where the visitors' locker room was. But the Bruins got the win, and he also scored in his return. He spent 9 seasons with the Ducks. He had a very nice video tribute, and he gave the Ducks credit for shaping his first couple years in the NHL. The organization was so good to him. He had family and friends there, great memories, and now, of course, it's a new chapter, and he's excited about that as well. He scored his 5th goal of the season after pinching down the wall all the way into the corner, firing a shot from a bad angle that sneaked past John Gibson to extend the Bruins' lead to 6-1. He said he was shooting to score. He's tried to get in his head to shoot a little bit more. Good things happen when you shoot. especially against John Gibson, who I was pleased to be up against last night in fantasy hockey. Goals against average of 7 and something like an .833 save percentage in that one. Lindholm also talked about David Pastrnak. He, of course, was on the other end of a special performance by Pastrnak against the Ducks back in 2019. That award-winning season for Pastrnak. He had his only 4-goal game, which came against the Ducks at TD Garden. Lindholm said he's a special player. The way he can move the puck and put it in the back of the net, it's really special, and it's fun to have him on his side, finally. Finally, there were some extracurriculars between Trevor Zegras and Trent Frederic. Zegras seemed to bark something at Frederic in front of the Boston bench. It's a bit of a family show, so I won't say what exactly he was said. And the Bruins took exception to that. Zegras had just scored, and then he's barking at Trent Frederic. And Pastrnak basically said, you can't do that after a goal. You have to have some certain respect. You can't score a goal and then yell at the opponent no matter what happened in the sequence before. It hypes everybody else up. That goal brought the Ducks within 2-1 at that point, and the Bruins just turned it on from there and went on to win 7-1. Montgomery said it kind of had an effect injecting emotion into the game. Don't forget, the Bruins were playing their 3rd game in 4 nights on the opposite coast. Easily could have gone up 2-0 and then try to coast the rest of the way. But, you poke the bear like that, and it got the Bruins back to playing really good hockey, keeping the foot on the gas, and they ended up burying the Ducks by a score of 7-1. They beat the Sharks 4-2, the Kings 5-2, and will now have 3 days off to rest before starting a 3-game homestand Thursday against the Seattle Kraken. They'll play Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then next Monday will be a 1 p.m. start against the Philadelphia Flyers, an afternoon game. So that's what's coming up for our Boston Bruins. Tomorrow on the podcast, we'll do our weekly Eastern Conference power rankings. Later on this week, we'll do the weekly cup check and hopefully have some friends on the podcast as well. Trying to get some more guests on here in the coming days to talk about this incredible team. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. We enjoyed a local university basketball game. We've been working our way through Lord of the Rings as well, halfway through Return of the King. I also, if you're looking for a book recommendation, I started reading Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Love it. Can't put it down. And I finished the recent season of Jack Ryan over the weekend as well. We've been watching 1923, the Yellowstone prequel. Can't recommend that enough either. It's very excellent. All right, friends, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. And please do return tomorrow for Locked On Boston Bruins, your favorite team every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.